Hi everyone, I hope you're well. I'm going to talk this evening about stress. So it's that time of year. There's a lot of people coming up towards exams. It's sort of the start of the athletics season as well. So typically this was always quite a stressful time for me as an athlete. I've had a fair bit of stress in my life recently. I say stress, it's all relative. I've been changing my company structure, and there's like loads of admin that goes along with that, as well as trying to do lots of other things, lots of fingers in different pies. So there's been quite a lot to contend with, but through having been an athlete, I have learned various ways of dealing with stress, and not just through being an athlete as well, actually. So I'm going to share with you a few of those examples now and a few tips that you can use to actually choose a different mindset when it comes to stress. So the first of those is when I was out in Kenya, I trained, my roommate was a Cuban girl. And I always remember on our rest days on a Sunday, she would just sort of like lounge there, and there's this saying in Spanish, which is just a really lovely saying, and it's estar a tu aire, and it literally translated, it means to be of your air, which I know that sounds a bit weird, but if you can kind of imagine that it's like, yeah, you have a bit of an aura of relaxation about you. And I looked up the translation, and one of the ones that it says is that you set your own rules and don't answer to anybody. And so it's kind of having that inner strength and energy and sense of self where you're not going to be like ruffled by anybody. And yeah, she really had that aura about her. This girl, Santi was her name. And yeah, it's quite inspiring, I guess, because I think I've always been a person who maybe does take on board other people's stresses and tries to please people quite a lot, instead of being a mi aire. And I've recently, this is another sort of non-athletic example, but I've recently started doing tango lessons, and one of the key tips that's really helped me to make big strides, excuse the pun, is the teacher said to own your own steps. So yeah, with any dance really, but especially with tango, that's quite a sort of a powerful dance, and you need to have a good posture. You really have to sort of, I was going to say, feel fabulous, but yeah, own your steps. So just have that strength and that conviction, yeah, and you know, that kind of grace as well as you're doing it. And it's not something that totally comes naturally to me or to probably British people, but you know, it's that being a tu aire, and that can then translate into a lot of different areas of your life. Just kind of taking the time to really connect with yourself and to have your own rules and not be ruffled. So I have also another thing that's helped me recently in terms of cultivating that sense, because maybe it does come more naturally to some people than others, but again, I always believe it's possible to change and cultivate things. I've just been doing some meditation, trying. It's not always successful, but when I do have a good session of it, like, I do get that sense of I'm kind of almost filling myself up and not allowing external things to bother me. Yeah, let me pause that. Sorry. So yeah, I often feel like I don't have time to meditate. I've got all these other things that I should be doing, and But if you actually sort of set it as, you know, an understanding that it's going to be the most important thing that you're going to do that day, because it's for you, and it's for you to then, with everything else that you do that day, to have much more of a sense of purpose, and to not have the unpleasant feelings that can sometimes come alongside doing things. You could do the same things in life quite often without the stress, just as well, if not better. So, you know, it's choosing that, and that as I say, can be cultivated by generating your aire. Yeah, another thing I've realised as I've got older and older is that there's certain people, and maybe yourself included, or myself probably sometimes, that you know, you get stressed in life, and then you think, oh, but when this is finished, then I'll be less stressed because it'll be over. But then actually you find something else to stress about, and generally it actually spirals unless you take some steps to control the stress. There's a really good part in the book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, in which he likens stress to being like a gas that fills your body. So in chemistry, they talk about if you have a gas in any given container size, that it will fill that container completely and equally. So like if you've got a human body and then you inject it with stress, then it will diffuse throughout the body equally. So it could be a little bit of stress, it could be a lot of stress, but it fills the body. And so therefore it's not the amount of stress that's the issue, because no matter what, it will fill the body. It's how you then choose to deal with that. So you really do have to not kind of trick yourself or tell yourself, oh, I'll be less stressed when, or you know, if this happens. You've actually got to think in that moment, no, what can I do to deal with this stress? And it's down to you to cultivate that new mindset. So yeah, I hope that helps, and yeah, you reduce your stress levels. Yeah, it's not easy, but it can be done. Okay, all the best. Oh no, I've got another quote. wait, sorry. 1 second, damn. Sorry, not the most polished performance tonight. Anyway, this is a brilliant quote from a brilliant book. It's called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And right towards the end, he gives this quote, which is: never rattled, never frantic, always hustling and acting with creativity, never anything but deliberate, never attempting to do the impossible, but everything up to that line, no longer afraid, but excited, cheerful, and eagerly anticipating the next round. Wouldn't that be nice?